Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
And greetings. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I am Griffin Gaming RPG. And today is Saturday, July the 22nd, and we appreciate you guys being here today. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope life is going well for you. We are starting today with an interesting topic. It's our main topic. What is fun for Star Citizen backers? I'm going to go into greater detail about that later, but you'll notice that the word fun is capitalized and with quotes. That means there's more to that question than meets the eye. So I hope you guys will be prepared to come in and tell me, to you, what do you think is fun in the Star Citizen community and in the Star Citizen gameplay and the universe and all that great stuff. Let's see, we had a busy week this week. As you guys know, last Saturday we weren't here. We held the Virtual Bar Citizen, which was held online on Zoom, and we had a great turnout. We had about 100 folks in for the first session. We had about 75 roughly for the second session. Folks were kind of going in and out over each session was 4 hours long, but the event was 12 hours and about 20 minutes long, the whole thing. We were here a long time. And though it doesn't seem like much, it becomes a very long day for us. So thank you to everybody who came out and joined us. Hope you guys had a great time. As always, great conversation, great stimulating conversation. We had folks from CIG that came out. Let's see if I can remember everybody who was here. Knight Rider was here. Dan Daniel was here. Toast was here. And Galactica and Xylo popped in as well. So to CIG, thank you guys again. As always, you've been supportive of us. Thank you again for the donations that you gave that we were able to give away to the community. Thanks to the folks from Yacht Club who also helped us with moderating the event. It's been a collaborative effort between us and them, and it was just great. We had a real good time. That's basically all I can say about that. We had a great time. So I do want to jump into our topics today. Sometimes when we do this show, we have about 4 questions. I try to average it out about 4 questions each week because it turns into a 2-hour show. And I don't usually try to go longer than 2 hours, even though we have quite often. Today we're only going to do 3 questions, and I'm going to do the first 2. As if you don't know, we pull all of our questions from the community from Spectrum and Reddit, and we talk about things in the gaming industry. And sometimes I just put out a question that may be just on my mind to hear what the community thinks. And so the question that you see on the screen there is kind of that question. But we are going to pull a couple, one from Spectrum, one from Reddit. We're going to do our break talking about the St. Jude Play Live charity drive that we're doing, which you see on the screen right now. We are looking to raise $10,000 by October 22nd, which is the second day, the closing day of CitizenCon. And we're hoping that you guys will be able to help us reach that goal. If you've already given, thank you. We appreciate that. If you can't give, we get it. We understand a lot of stuff going on today with money. But we do ask that you would let other people know that we are raising this money. Send a tweet out, send a message out to somebody, say, hey, come over and check out these guys over at Soul Voices, Soul Citizens, Soul Talk. And then hopefully they'll hear the message about what we're doing for Play Live and also be able to contribute to St. Jude. We've done it in the past, had great success with it, and we're hoping to do it again. Much more ambitious this time, and we've got some great giveaways that we're doing as well. All right, so enough of the opening, enough of the intro. Let's get into what we're going to be talking about this week. So let me get my screens all in place here. And the very first question, it was interesting when this one came up, caught my eye on Spectrum. Excuse me. And the question was, the $175 price tag for the Vulture, the Drake Vulture, can't be justified. Now, I'm going to, well, let me think. Should I read it or run the video first? Let me read it, and then I'm going to run the video. No. Let me run the video first. I'll let you guys watch the video first. Most of you guys have seen this video, but maybe it's been a little while since you've seen it. So I want to run the video, and then I'm going to read what this post is, and then after that, we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's check out the video first.
Most folks, they see a wreck, and they just see a bunch of junk. Not you, though. You see a gold mine. You don't bother with a big, clunky rig. You don't need to. That's you, a wrecking crew of one. Doing it your way. One crew's wreck is another pilot's riches. Stake your claim with the Vulture. Only from Drake.
Okay, so that's the Drake Vulture commercial, and I want to read this. This is kind of a long read, so a lot of times I put the words on the screen, but this one was long, so I'm just going to read it to you guys. And I think Fast Cart's already put the link in for you, so feel free to follow along here. This was by PRESWEDENT. The 175 price tag of the Vultures can't be justified. The Vulture is a great ship. Don't get me wrong about that. However, I just can't find myself to see why it's justified at having a $175 price tag when it's a comparable ship of the same size and class. The Prospector is already overpriced at $155. What you get and its versatility just isn't enough for the $175 price tag, in my opinion. The Vulture should be lowered in price, and the Prospector should be lowered at the most to somewhere just above the price tag of the Cutlass Black. Cutlass Black to me is still the reigning champion of the value for your money. Not only do you get a good sized ship with a fairly decent cargo capacity, but you even get 2 beds, a bunch of firepower, a secondary dedicated cruise seat for multi-crew gameplay, good quantanium capabilities, decent engines and speed, fuel capacity, etc., all for just $110. So if anything, I think that the Prospector should be lowered even more to be more in line with the Cutlass Black, but maybe slightly higher at the previously suggested price of $125. The Vulture could sit a little higher and maybe at $155, since it's probably the most versatile of the 3, and it's salvage with a salvage gameplay, tiny cargo hold for delivery missions, strong defensive capabilities, and semi-decent weapons if for some reason we want to go out bounty hunting with it. Anyways, let me know y'all's thoughts about this in comments. And remember, this is a discussion forum for sharing your thoughts on things, but it doesn't mean that you have to act like an asshat when somebody's opinion differs from yours. Okay, so that's the basics of it. Let me start bringing folks in because we got folks in line already. Kaizen was in here. He was here ahead of time, so hopefully he's still here. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
It's good to see your beautiful face, brother. All right. So I thought I was coming in here actually to do what do Star Citizen backers think is fun, but all right. Mm-hmm. On this question, you can make the argument that he's right, mm-hmm. and you can make the argument that he's wrong.
Okay.
I can make the short version of the argument that he's right is this. paying $175 for a digital asset of a spaceship in a video game, cray cray.
Bit a little extreme,
It's
right?
Straight up banana. Now, if you're going to accept that, then Star Citizen is not the project for you, and you should move along. But so let's look at it from the other aspect. If either all of Star Citizen is completely untenable, or it's not, and that's a choice. That's a question of choice. We live in a free society. We live in a capitalistic society. People can do what they want with their money, and I can't tell them not to. So looking at it from the other aspect of just, let's assume that you're okay with the premise of spending money for spaceships in a video game that has not been released, then he's just wrong. So with all respect, he's saying, hey, look, it shouldn't be at this price because, and he's making a logical mistake of saying, when compared to this other ship, it provides this as opposed to that.
Okay.
And the ship, the Prospector isn't finished. The Vulture isn't finished. The game isn't finished. The aspect of mining as a gaming loop as a whole is not finished. The aspect of salvaging as a gaming loop as a whole is barely just beginning. None of this is in any way. Apparently, the music is loud in the stream. People are commenting that the music is loud from the video, I think.
Oh, the music was that loud, guys? I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks for letting me know.
So if you are going to grant the premise that spending money for digital spaceships is okay, how can you possibly criticize to say that A is a improper value as opposed to B when what you're looking at is at the very, very beginning? That's like saying a speedboat is more value for money than a sailing yacht. It's like, yeah, in the first 200 feet after takeoff, yeah, that speedboat goes way faster, but you have no clue. The sailing yacht that's designed to, take you across the Atlantic or whatever, that speedboat isn't going to get it done. So like, we don't know what the final form, we have no clue at all what the final form of the Vulture is going to look like. We have very little idea what the final form of, I mean, I think we have a better idea because we've seen many iterations what the final form of the Prospector is going to be, but we have, with regard to mining, I say we have half of an idea what final mining is going to look like because it's pretty well along. With salvaging, we have no clue. So, and in the end, a spaceship is worth what people will pay for it. And in a capitalistic society, either they'll sell units or they won't. If they don't sell units, they'll adjust the price down. If they, whatever.
So in other words, the value, somebody thinks the value's fine and they're willing to pay it, basically. I'm saying to that person, it may not be worth
still
it.
Question marks. All of this is still question marks. So who even knows if it's good value for money? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm out.
No, good point. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Alrighty, listen, guys, I'm sorry. If there was still music playing, that's weird. Was there music playing while Kai was talking? Because I had the mute thing on my end and I wasn't hearing music. So let me know, was music still going through? If it is, that means there's a bug in my streaming software. Okay, not for you. Okay. It was just loud when the trailer ran. Okay, I got you. Okay, I thought maybe it was still playing for some reason. Okay, let me bring in Jay. Maybe it was Admiral that was first. I'm going to bring Admiral in first, and then I'll bring in Jay, then Red. Admiral, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So I'll start with what I'm doing right now. I'm playing Star Citizen, believe it or not. I know, at a surprise, and I'm flying the Vulture. Okay. And I was just talking to Pops and Fist like 10 minutes ago about how I liked it a little bit better than the Prospector because it's not as intricate. That I don't have to worry about blowing up right now. Maybe that's in the future.
It's true.
Some ships and stuff like that. Actually, it's not that bad.
So what do you think about the price point that they're mentioning? I mean, they're saying
the price. I mean, how do you make money in the Cutlass Black? I mean, I got to go do something. I have to put my life in danger. I got to get stupid boxes and either get a push cart or use a tractor beam or something else like that. So, I mean, everything comes down to, to me, time. And in this case, if I'm going to make money, I think it's well worth paying the extra money for a Vulture or a Prospector, depending upon if that's the route you want to go. I just think that this isn't a multi-crew ship. Neither is a prospector. And this guy is like, oh, well, you can get two. He literally goes into his speech about this is a multi-crew ship. I'm like, well, okay, well, automatically you're already off mark because these are single ship, like person ships. Okay. So I think for the price of them, for the amount of money they can make, I think they're pretty well. I mean, like Kai was saying, the Vulture still has ways to go in terms of like what it's actually going to take to do stuff.
Yeah.
The prospect is a lot more further along.
Okay.
And we know Stig is going to make things more intricate. So there you go.
Okay. Thank you, Admiral. There's a great thought. Great thought. Let's bring in Jay Voodoo Child next. Jay, you there?
Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
Good, buddy.
So, basic economics classes. I mean, what more do you need to say? I mean, capitalism, the market will bear the truth. What is loud and not loud. And people are obviously willing to pay that price or the original price before it jumped up 25%. And, Star Citizen has over $500 million pledged to it for these similar types of, vehicles and things for the future. So to me, this is kind of a no nonsense post or thought or what have you. I mean, if it's high for them, that's entirely personal question.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't afford this game, and that's fine. Or
let me base, and I agree with you. Let me base it around this thought, right? Because I'm trying to look at what they're doing here, and I think Kai mentioned it, that they're doing comparisons, right? And it seems like a lot of what they're saying is, look at all of the versatility that I can do with the Cutlass Black for less money, where here's a ship that only seems to do this. You know what I mean? It seems like that's where they're trying to make their comparison. And my question is to you, is that a fair comparison?
No, because you have specialist ships, you have multi-purpose ships, the Bard class, does everything but is the master of none, all that comparisons. And as Kai was saying, this is alpha, this is still in development, where these objects, these entities are going to finally end, has a lot to be worked out. And, basically we are buying the dream, and that's that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. All righty. And last but not least, Red Bear. By the way, if you guys want to come in and talk, there's a link that pops up. You can come in, share your thoughts about the game. These folks that are here are fabulous. They always give great comments, but we're always open to new voices. So feel free to jump in if you'd like. Red, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, no, not too bad.
Good.
Well, about this Vulture, well, we have, of course, if we can compare it also to other games, they have like skins for 16K. Like I saw something like Disrespect had a skin, one or whatever, that was worth 16K, and that's just for a knife. I mean, yeah. It's like some other say, like it's just what some other think is worth it. Right?
Yeah.
And if you compare to, for example, what you said, the Cutlass Black, well, you can, if you wanted to do some cargo hauling in the Vulture, and it can manufacture some stuff for you, and you can make some money from scrap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty good for a ship like this, and I think it's also very relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's if it fits your style of gameplay, then you will take this ship.
Yeah, that's.
Is it worth it? Well, it's just what some people want to give for it. Most people will say no, I guess.
Yeah. It's...
and I think that's also a valid point. They just say no, and then they stick with the base game.
Yeah. It's difficult, Red, because in the midst of this conversation that we're having right now, and this post that's here, our donating is supposed to be donating toward the project.
Yes.
Not necessarily donating toward a ship. You know what I'm saying? The ship is kind of like it's like a cake, right? And it's like we're paying for the cake, and it's nice that they can put a certain icing on it, right? The fact that we get this virtual item, which Kai mentioned earlier, this virtual token, is a way of saying thank you for what you're doing, and also supporting the direction of what that thing is, right? We're supporting the development. If I bought a Vulture, I'm buying it because not only I think it's a cool ship, but also because of the future of what that ship can do. So I'm going to keep you in here, Red, for a second, and I'm going to review the video, because there's some things that when I saw this video I caught, and there are some things I didn't catch until much later.
Yeah,
and we're doing. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, I just want to say something.
Sure.
But I lost the train of thought, so you go ahead.
Well, if you think of it, let me know. Just like Griff, and I'll stop. Okay. Yeah. When I first saw this commercial, I was excited about it because when I played Eve, I was really into salvage and mining. Those were big things for me. And so even though we had the Reclaimer, and we'd seen the Reclaimer, that was like okay, way down the road. But when I saw this, I'm like, hey, it's finally coming, right? So several points here that I noticed. We're doing a show tomorrow called Visions, Dreams, and Reality. Okay, on our main show tomorrow night, we're doing that. And this, a lot of the questions I'm picking today are kind of leading into that conversation on tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had my vision based on when I played Eve of what salvage might be, right? And then I dreamed about it, right? And then here's the reality of what it's going to be, all right? Yeah. In this video, there's a mixture of that. It's the vision of what Chris Roberts and CIG has talked about salvaging will be. We've dreamed about being able to do some of the things that are here. But here's the reality. Some of the things they show us here is, which we have right now in our hand, we have the being able to strip the skin off of the ships, right? CIG has told us that we will also be able to break down the ships eventually, breaking down the frames and things like that. If you look in this video, there's a section where you see these lasers come out from between the two arms, and then you see that open maw, that grinder that opens up and starts spinning. And you see it grabbing pieces of the wreckage, dragging it inside of the unit, right?
Yeah.
Then there was another little Easter egg in here that I saw, which I showed some of my friends about a week ago, which I hadn't seen before either. You know the scene where you see him get out of the ship and he walks down the arm of the leg of the ship walking toward the wreck?
Yeah.
If you look at him, he's wearing mag boots.
Yes.
He doesn't EVA out there. You actually see, and if you look at the boots, they're an entirely different boot. There's something we don't even have in the game right now. So he magnetically walks out on there. So, and I'm saying this because at one of the virtual bar citizens, not this one, but the one we did at IAE, Brian Chambers was there. And somebody asked Brian, if we see something in the trailer or in the concept art, is that just there for fluff? Or is it something that we could kind of expect in the game? And Brian said, if you see something, it's because it's something that we actually want to put into the game. Now, I'm putting a caveat on that because we know that there may be something that they just can't do. But his point was that it's not just marketing, that they really are trying to achieve these things. So the fact that we see that maw, the fact that we see the lasers, that's something that we can say, is coming. Okay. The fact that he's walking with the mag boots, because he didn't have to walk with the mag boots. He could have just went out the door and EVA like we do now. Right.
Yes.
But later down the road. So when we're buying something in game, when we're backing, when we're supporting, when we're donating, it's that the first iteration, I think Kai said this earlier, the first iteration of it, that tier 0, tier 1, don't think that that's where the buck stops, that there's more coming. So that it might feel like being worth $120 now, when it's in its fullest point in the game, might actually be worth not only $175, but $275. Admiral Kusanagi also said that the fact that what he can do revenue-wise with this ship versus a Cuddy, he feels he can make more money. I know if you go out and you get a good load of just skin, just from strip skinning, you can make $160,000 just doing that on one run. Where in a Cuddy Black, can you do that? Maybe, depending on what you're pulling, right? But I think that it's subjective. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It all depends on what the person wants from the game, what they want from the ship. Some people may say, I'll pick another ship. Some people may say a Harbinger isn't worth the money. For that price, it's not worth the money. Other people might say, $285, boom, here's my money. I want it. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, well, first of all, you can use the CCU to make it a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Second of all, you were talking about, I got it back, donating and buying ships, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's a mixer, right? That they they donate some of their money
Mm-hmm.
to the project, but they expect something back from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a valid point to have this view, because, well, of course, we like to give them some money, but we always expect something back for it, what we put in.
Yeah, we do. And that's being a consumer, right? I mean, if I pay for something, there's an exchange, right? I give you money for something with the expectation of something. The difference in this, though, is similar to investing. Now, even though we're not investors, we are technically investing, and investing often means that there's a process of waiting for a return, right? Your ROI, your return on your investment. And as consumers, balancing that desire, the urgency to want to have something in our hands quickly. You know, if someone were to tell you to buy stock, you know, and you like, let's say I'm talking to a friend of mine and they say, oh, I put some money into this and I made this much money. Well, they may have had to wait a year, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, to finally get to that point. Sometimes people are lucky, right? They like a Bitcoin thing, right? You happen to get in and boom, it happens that way too. But with game development, we're all investing to a certain degree in the sense of we're putting money in, expecting something back, right? But at the same time, we don't have that full right as an investor to come. Now, I'm not gonna say we can't complain, but we don't have any power to speed the wheels up, right? To demand. We can bark. Don't get me wrong. We have the right to say, hey, we're not happy, or hey, what's taking so long? I'm not saying people can't ask those questions, but I think
people will.
Yeah, they will. But I think that there's that balance of being a consumer, right? You know, when we're a consumer, especially where most things are pretty instantaneous as far as gratification goes, right? We put some money in, we get the gratification pretty quickly. But when it comes to a project like this, it's tough, right? It can be tough, right? Okay. Well, Red, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I got a couple more things.
Sure.
You also mentioned about Vision of Chris Roberts. And I want to actually mirror that to the vision and hype of Starfield.
Okay.
I think sometimes some people, hyped it so much up that actually it's very hard to met that hype or the expectation for the game.
Yeah.
So I try to temper that always because that's hard to do. When it's going that so sky high, you cannot meet these expectations what people have.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Don't forget your second question.
Yes, I wrote it down.
Okay, good. You mentioned about hype.
Yes.
Sometimes I think about where does hype really come from, right? Now, listen, I'm not calling us drug addicts, okay?
Okay.
But drug addiction, there's this desire to always continue to reach the high that you reached before, right? You felt good and you go back to it again, looking for that same level of gratification or satisfaction, right? And quite often it doesn't happen. So people dig even deeper, right? You become addicted over time, right? Now, the drug dealer knows this, right? Remember the whole idea of drug dealers giving you your first sample for free?
Yeah.
Because they know that once you have that first hit, you might come back, right? Some people don't, but some people, I want more, right? That was great. It was a great experience. I want to do it again. And the dealer knows that. Do you think that that's also the way gaming industry works? That technically, we're always looking for that next high. And so it's not necessarily hype as much as maybe what has been developed in gamers, that there's almost a point of we want that, we're searching for that thing that made us feel a certain way. And so when we see a glimpse of it, that's why we attach it. It's not necessarily that Bethesda's hyping it. Bethesda's advertising it. Now, mind you, am I calling Bethesda the drug dealer or CIG the drug dealer? I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying, or maybe they are. Maybe they do know how gamers' psyche work, right?
I do think that Todd Howard from Bethesda is a really good salesman of their games. No doubt about it. He can sell his games, and he does it very well. Even after he tries to hype the people afterwards, but most likely it's already too late what people can expect from the game.
So is he just like, some people would say the same thing about Chris Roberts. Some people would say the same thing about Chris Roberts, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can see why.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay, Rick. Go ahead. What's the other question?
Last but not least, about the...
Your Red, your mic is going in and out, like the cord is maybe not secure.
I'm sorry. How about now?
There you go. Better. Yes.
About the Mac boots, we know, of course, with EVA, we have this fuel tank on our back.
Mm-hmm.
So those Mac boots make more sense at that moment, and that you EVA with gravity, or at least with push and pull. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So I cannot wait for that to see to come.
Yeah.
So I think they will go for the Mac boots for sure.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's come up before in discussion. They talked about it before, but that's the first time I've seen it implemented, in one of their trailers or something. So, yeah, something cool. Okay, Red. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes.
All right. Later. Okay. Thank you, Red. All right. Thanks for hearing my little rant, y'all. But that's my question about our hype and gamers. Okay, let's move on to number 2 here. This is going to be a long one, y'all. The last one wasn't long. This one's long. This one is titled, this is from Reddit, Sport Killing is Ruining Star Citizen. Sport Killing is Ruining Star Citizen. This is by Doc Martin on Reddit. And Fastcard, if you can drop that one in for me, because it is a long read and people may want to follow me. Thank you, buddy. Okay, so here we go. It says, before I start, let me just clarify, piracy is a part of Star Citizen and a gameplay loop some enjoy. It brings an element to Star Citizen that a lot enjoy, and it should remain. However, sport killing for fun is becoming too common and forcing people out of the game. So yes, piracy is a part of the game and PvP is a part of the game, but we are not playing Call of Duty here, where everyone is spawning into PvP. The first person they see to up their frag count and KDA. PvE is also part of the game, as well as some people would like to play. PvE is becoming incredibly impossible to play with the overabundance of people just looking to go out and blow up other ships to try and flex. Pardon me. Consideration to other players, not everyone is playing the game as you see it, and you are not playing the game as other people see it. Just because you want to play it in a PvP hardcore game mode doesn't mean everyone else does. While I think Star Citizen would help correct this by limiting PvP to certain areas, maybe high value areas, etc., there needs to be places in the game where people can PvE without Joe Blow being able to come blow up a ship that just took someone an hour to load up and get ready for their game. This weekend during the Free Fly, I sat and watched so many new Free Fly players getting picked off, leaving places such as Everest Harbor and Port Tressler, and never even getting to go experience the game due to more seasoned players sitting there picking them off as soon as they lift off from the station over and over again. At some point, the new players actually quit playing and logged off because their attempt to even try the game was completely ruined at the start. I wanted to view this from a new player perspective, so I spawned my little 100i that I haven't used in years and headed out to the space stations. Arriving at Port Tressler, I was immediately met with a Gladius and an arrow that blew it up, and these were not new players. Next, I went back to Everest Harbor, met by a Glaive and a Talon, and I was obliterated in seconds after arriving. Lastly, I went to R-Corp and landed at Bajini, no problem. So I thought, as I was leaving, I got hit by an Eclipse torpedo since I had set a spawn there. I respawned and tried to leave again. Eclipse torped me. Not wanting to try it again, I reset my spawn to New Babbage and went back home. From here, I thought I would try some new player-style box running missions and bunkers. I was instructed to pick up a box and to drop it at a facility on Microtech. Getting the box was no issue. However, arriving at Microtech mining facility to turn it in, I was met with 2 Scorpiuses, again in my 100i. They both approached me and said I could safely land and leave again if I paid them 400k. While this was closer to the gameplay I would expect to see from a real piracy, 400K from a new player that starts out with 25K? Come on. I said I was new and only had 15K left. I was shot down. I was so frustrated at this point, I just quit trying to play the new player experience and went back to beacons and bounties. A very sad experience. Piracy is and I will always be a part of the game, as it should, but not everyone wants to PvP you all the time. If you want to be a pirate, go camp shipping lanes, drug houses, breaker yard, etc. Be a pirate. Sport killing players for the fun of it, especially new potential backers to help fund the development of the game, and ruining their experience just to make yourself feel better is not a better pilot. Feeling like a better pilot is not piracy. Okay. Whew, there's a lot there. Excuse me for that. Hope you guys heard it all. Hope you can read it all. I'm going to start bringing folks in. I'm going to start out with, I don't know who was first because I was reading, so I'm going to bring in Pops because he hasn't been here. Pops in space, how are you? Pops, there he is. How are you?
Okay, how you doing?
Good.
All right. Well, basically, I can understand the person's frustration as far as being killed and all of that. But right now the game is so small, and I'm talking, later on the game will expand. We'll have several systems, so people are going to be a lot more scarce. Plus, the penalties are not really fully fleshed out and then in place. Mm-hmm. So running across people, like he's saying right now, won't happen as frequent later on when we have whatever CIG starts out with, how many systems we start out and then expand from there. We're going to be much more scarce towards each other, and the penalties will be fully there, and the game will be a lot different, which is my point. So right now, you've got the camping and you've had the pad ramming, and we've all been through that. And I think maybe he's experiencing, because there's a lot of new players coming to the game recently. So the insurgence of the uptick in wanting to initiate these people into the game, maybe that's a motive for all of it. But yeah, the game just isn't there yet with the penalties, and as far as space that we will be in, it's relatively small right now.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Pops, thank you much. All right, let me bring in, I got some other guys in here. I'm going to bring Chu in because Chu has not been in here yet, and then I'll hit the other guys because you guys get it. Chu, you there? Chu might have stepped away.
No, I'm here. Hey, Griff.
There he is. Hi, buddy. How are you?
Hey.
Good.
We got some time, a few days off, so I can come back.
Oh, good. Good to hear you.
I have a couple on that. Would be, do they think that attitude of behavior ever going to go away? It's not. It's always going to be part of the game. It's a game of consequences, and for things that you do. It's a grown-up game, right? And even in this phase of it, this alpha, I still look at it the same way. They're testing everything, people's attitudes, things that people might do in the future. If you go out alone on a cargo ship, I mean, you're kind of asking for it, and that's going to be the gameplay all the way through this. A guy wants to hang around a space station in grief. Hey, somebody better than him is going to come along, and they're going to take care of him. I mean, that's been my experience. I've never been pirated. I've been interdicted. I've been pad rammed. In fact, I've been pad rammed twice during the free fly. And I would argue that it is new people that do it because it's new to them. Everything. This is a person coming in and saying, hey, I have all this power in my hands. All these people are talking. I had this power to ruin somebody's day. It's just the way it is, but I don't think it happens that often. If you're a magnet for that type of stuff, then like Kai says, this is the wrong space for you. Obviously something's wrong. So
let me play devil's advocate here because I want to go to the title. Because I agree with you. CIG is definitely, there's a whole lot of analytics going on, right? They're paying attention to everything, how people play, how players play, how we respond to things, both as far as gameplay, the tech, everything. But what about the community? Because he doesn't say CIG's killing it. The comment that's being inferred here is that Star Citizen people may be ruining the experience. if we want people to come into this game and we want financial support for the game, are we cutting our own necks by these people who are possibly interested? They're coming in on free fly, which means they're interested. That means that if they like the game, they will now put money forward and buy ships. If we turn them off, are we cutting our own throats when it comes to financing the game?
Again, I don't think that this happens often enough. When I was in the chat in Free Fly, I was watching the chat sometime when I was doing things. The biggest complaint from the new people was, damn, this game just locked up again. Hey, we just came here from a 30K. It was like a joke. I would say that all the time. I was in a server, I kid you not, 2 days ago, or 3 days ago during the Free Fly, that I was the only person there with 2 other people. The most people that wound up in that server were 15, and a lot of them were coming in from 30Ks and things like that. So I don't think that happens that often. That's just my opinion, my experience in the 2.5 years. Piracy, maybe some people are a magnet for it, but I can't say that the community's ruining something when most people out there are just having a good time and you know, and have more technical issues than anything in this alpha.
Fair enough. Okay, buddy, good to hear you, man. Thanks for stopping in
here.
Alrighty. Yep. All right, that's my buddy. He's a good guy. Let's bring in let me bring in Admiral Kusanagi. Admiral.
Oh, my turn.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You know, I think I have a concern. Like, you know, I think I haven't seen this myself. I went to that new location with the crashed reclaimer. I went there yesterday with my salvage, with my Vulture, and I saw someone's ship, and I'm like, oh, look, there's no shields on that ship, so I'm just going to start salvaging the ship. And then I got chased away and got killed. So you know, there are you can put yourselves in areas that are good or bad. Now, if there's ships, you know, I really feel bad that the guy getting killed, you know, just handing in a package. I feel like maybe they should extend the defenses out, you know, to beyond city, but at least skyscrapes. Right. But I just think that it's I'm conflicted between issues with the commercial they're putting out, saying come join the experience, and people get here and they're trying to figure out what to do and expect it to be more polished than it is, and I'm conflicted with you know, the fact that it's not a finished game, and they want everybody that can help fund the game to come in here, no matter how they want to play. And when the finished game comes, well, it can be the game that all these people hate, and they can say, well, sorry, this is what we were making, and you could stay or leave. It's up to you. And I know, you know, a bunch of us have talked about that. Like, this isn't nowhere near what it's going to be like, and you know, it's going to take a lot of time to do medical gameplay. Needs to get really fleshed out. We're going to have more severe penalties for dying. So, you know, another question I had with someone in chat today was, you know, they're taking a break from the game, and they were like, oh, because you took a break too. I'm like, yeah, I took like 6 months off the game. So maybe this person needs to just kind of take a step back, or just, you know, decide to I won't say play it safe, but, you know, do things that are less confrontational until they can get money enough to do some stuff that they want to do. Like, for instance, you could do missions that for the salvaging, you could do general missions that bring you to a safe location, or you can do the quote unquote personal missions that bring you to a salvage location where you can find, like, you know, all the illicit drugs in a starship, and then you have to go that game route, and you can get killed by security while you're there and all that stuff. So they make some avenues, but I mean, this guy's perspective being attacked by the space stations, I mean, it's a bullshit that people are doing that. And that, I don't know if you're going to talk about the 30v30 later on, but I mean, that's kind of goes in the same route.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Admiral, thank you very much. All right, let me bring in Kai.
Hello.
Hey.
So I just want to point out, Pops in Space, 100% everything he said, just count me as a ditto. As far as, like, this game is not done. So we're going to have Death of a Spaceman. We're going to have more Crime and Punishment. We're going to have all kinds of things. This is a half-baked product, and you're taste testing it and saying, it's a problem. To Kusanagi's point, Kusanagi just said, I took a break from a game. I challenged that. No one's ever taken a break from Star Citizen because no one's ever played Star Citizen. You're play testing a product that is at best halfway made.
Mm-hmm.
No one's played Star Citizen yet, so we don't know what it's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for this guy, maybe for this personal guy, the answer is you don't want to play a multiplayer game. You want to play a single player game. I suggest you go check out Starfield. If you want to never, ever have a situation where you get griefed, don't play an MMO. Don't play any multiplayer or find an MMO that has 0 PvP. And then you'll find out that people can grief you with PvE. There's ways to do it. But like, yeah, this is.
So let me, I keep hearing maybe I'm hearing wrong, Kai, because I'm hearing so far everybody who's come in has been drifting toward what the game's going to be later. Drifting toward, there'll be things in here that'll help balance it, which I agree. Even your point about the fact that the game's not there yet. We're playing a playtesting game that things will definitely change. And you being a big person with New World, you know the history of that, right? In beta, it was one thing. When it got released, it became a entirely different monster, right? And that could be a good or bad thing with development, right? But I'm trying to focus in on something else the person is saying, because their topic is about sport killing.
Okay.
It's not about PvP. So, it's not. I'm gonna be real clear. It's not about PvP. He focused in on people who are just trying to figure out how to take off. They're just trying to figure out how to take off. And these players aren't randomly, the persons he's talking about aren't just randomly showing up. They're camping at a place where they know people who don't know how to push F are targeting people. And this is going to go into the final topic for the show, which I know you said you want to talk about later, about what is fun, right? Because I agree with what you guys have said. I also agree with this person a little bit. I'm saying, what are we cultivating as players when we know it's a free fly? We ain't talking about the regular week like right now, where it's just the regular folks who play the game. We're talking about people that we want to come in to play this game. CIG is inviting these people to come play. And my feeling is, as backers, I want more people to come in because I want the financing. Because I'm not paying no more money.
So that gets to your previous point that you said about, like, what does that say to us as a community? What are we doing? And the answer to that is, unfortunately, I'm sorry to tell you, brother, that way lies madness. You cannot herd those kittens. They will run every way except for where you want to. The only thing that you can do is you can lobby the game company to put in proper rails, put in proper sticks and carrots, such that helping new players gives you some reward, hurting new players gives you some pain. But that's a thing that has to be developed. That's what I talked about with the crime and punishment system, with the death of a spaceman. And that's not all there yet. Right, so it's like saying, hey, my hot wings aren't properly seasoned. And the guy's like, dude, I just put it on the grill. Give me a minute. Like, So, but like, as far as saying, we as a community should be better at welcoming people. You're 1,000% correct. Now, how you're going to enforce that on the trolls and the interwebs?
Forget about it.
No, it has to come through the game development. It has to come through a situation where they make it such a pain in your balls when you act like a malicious actor that you. And even then, even when they fix this perfectly, you're going to have some sociopaths that will spend 40 hours grinding just so that they can, in 5 minutes of glory, shit on someone's face.
So do me a favor.
Like, you can't stop psychopaths.
Hold on to that when we come back to the next question, because I want you and I, we're going to have that conversation, because that's the direction I'm going on the next. It's not the direction, but I want to analyze that when we get to this. How do players have fun? Because that you're going down that path. And I get you. I truly do get you. Okay. All right. Don't forget now. Come back.
I'm out.
All right, buddy. Okay. Let's bring in Jay Voodoo Child. Jay, you there? Jay. Jay went to go get a Coke?
Nope.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Alpha.
Uh-huh. he left. He said alpha, that was it. Okay, Jay. Let me bring in let me bring in Fist to Face. No, let me bring in Fist to Face and I'll bring in Red Bear. Fist, you there?
Hey, what's happening, Griff?
Hey, buddy.
Okay, so my take to this is, listen, whoever this person is needs to get that old saying, get good, you jalopy trash bag. No, I'm just playing. Anyway, I understand.
Okay.
And I agree with everybody. The game one is in alpha. There's no penalties for those folks of being, trash bags as they are, to come in and ruin the game. And I get that. It's unfortunate that CIG is trying to, get new players in, but new players are being thrown into the fire. Unfortunately. And
so should they create a space? Like, okay, I'll give you an example. When we play Mortal Online 2.
Right.
Remember, Mortal Online has a town that we went to.
No, you are correct.
We learned everything about the game in that town, and it was a quote unquote safe space, but it looked like the real world. Real world. But we also knew that once you launched into the real world, everything was about to change, right? It was no holds barred, right? I mean, there was no hand holding,
right?
When you went, and some people went into that little village because it was a pretty big map, and like I know Nihilus, people stayed there a long time. People, once you went to the real world, you went back to that small world and practiced and got yourself together. You learned what the keystrokes were, what things did, and then when you launched into the new world where they were ruthless. If y'all ain't never played Mortal Online 2,
oh my God, let me explain
they are ruthless. And I'm not a big PvPer, but that game is ruthless. And I like it. I enjoy it. But I did appreciate I appreciated the fact that there was a place for me to basically get it together before I went into the real world. Do you think that CIG would benefit from something like that?
I think that really needs to go into the new player experience. It needs to be just like Arena Commander or Star Marine or something like that. They really need a section of the game to do that. And that's a great idea because as we see right now, the game is growing. And as you can tell, as we can tell by the numbers of how many like Fastcard does all of the time, the number of new backers that we get, as far as even when you look at the amount of people who show up to the Bar Citizen, the virtual Bar Citizen that we've just had. So the interest in this game is growing, and I think CIG on their part need to really look at that. And I know that they're trying to balance that, and I think that is a very good idea for them to do, but it needs to be sectioned off from, like you said, from the game, the live game. Like they had that big disclaimer, like Immortal, when it says, "Listen, you about to go up in here, and guess what? It's big boy time."
Yeah, and again, when we did that in Mortal, you can stand there as long as you want, but you get to sample. You get to sample the game, and you get a good idea of it.
Yeah.
But eventually, there is that moment. For some people, it's like that day, right? They go in that day, they learn stuff, and they go right into the new world. For other people, they spent a couple weeks in that town before they went to the real world. So it would be cool.
It would be cool, but I'll say it like that.
Yeah. Now, the question we'd have to ask is, can CIG get the analytics they need? Because obviously they want everybody in the verse. That might be the trade-off. But at least there's a tutorial area that is not in the real world. You know what I mean? You get it, like you said, Arena Commander kind of acts that way for flying. But we need something that's a city. Maybe it was the old Area 18, but you need something to help folks get used to getting in and out.
I think that it possibly can be done off of a server. Maybe, I don't know how many servers they have access to, where, like you said, with Mortal, they had so many instances of what was that, Safe Haven they called it, I think it was.
I forget what the town was.
So they can have so many instances of that, so everybody's not crammed into one. You go in there and you choose your lobby and you do what you need to do. And I mean, they can gather intel. I would believe they can still probably gather analytics from there. But I just think that it's right now, it's a tough balance for them.
You know, the other thing too, and I'm got to move on to the next question because we're at the top of the hour. The other thing too is I was thinking that even if they kept it in the persistent universe, you know how we have Jericho Station?
Right.
You know, they could create a station. I mean, it could be something like, I'm trying to think of what's the one there. Not Kovalexa Korea, but they could have a station that just goes live during that time for new players and well protected, right? Well protected. You know, you can they could have a huge bubble around that sucker where there cannot be any negative conflict when going into and landing, you know, taking off. So there could, you know, things like that. Now, pad ramming might be a way, there's something they couldn't avoid. But my point is, if you're a new player, that's how you get in there. You come in new, right? And they're really the only people who are in that area. But once they leave the bubble of that area, if they decide to go outside of that, then now they're in, right. And I mean, that's just, I'm just saying, just make a station. That's all I'm saying. A station with a freaking 100 kilometers space that's safe haven. But once they go outside of that, then they're entering to the world. And that way they could maybe get analytics too with the amount of people coming in. I don't know. Cry Astro, fast card, that would be cool. Kovalex Gundo, something. At that architect. But maybe there's something like that. Because I know they need to have everybody in the server to get numbers too. But anyway, we'll move on beyond that. I got Red Bear still. Thanks, buddy, okay?
No problem.
All right. Red, let's bring him in and then we'll go ahead and move on. Red, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I got the ultimate solution, of course.
The ultimate solution. What's the ultimate solution?
PvP slider.
Oh, don't even open that. Don't even open that gate. No. We are not going down that road, Red. They've been beating that horse for years. Oh my God, I can't believe you brought that up. Yeah, for those of you all who don't know, Red's laughing, but this came up a long time ago, and it still comes up every once in a while. Somebody will ask on the forums about putting in the PvP slider, and I don't know, Red. What do you give me your thoughts on that?
My honest thought, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think CIG has mentioned that that's not gonna happen, but you know, there's a part of me that agrees with the fact that, you know, the universe is deadly. It's dangerous. Yeah. It is. I'm also one of those people that says the reason why the universe is dangerous is because of humans, not because necessarily space is that dangerous, because we understand what's in space. What we don't understand is human behavior. But I do, and this is just me personally, guys. It's just, you know, please don't take any offense to this. But I do want the space to be a place that's welcoming for people who are curious about the game. Because they need a learning curve. And Star Citizen already has a freaking high learning curve when it comes to, you know, the technology, you know, learning how to move around, the ships, targeting, all that other stuff. And it's enough to juggle those things when you're new, and it grows. It gets bigger and bigger. Each year, there's more stuff to learn. We're getting ready to get this new flight mechanic thing coming in, right? That's going to be a whole new thing for all of us to learn. New players are still trying to figure out how to freaking, you know, turn their engines on, how to get off the pad, let alone the culture of the game, of the fact that...
I think for the new players, actually the guide system can help greatly.
Yes.
I used to, before the guide system, help a lot of newbies in with the ship and how to do stuff. So I think the guide system is a really good addition.
Yes.
Only thing I don't have that it is more in the face of new players that they can use it, and it's always permanent there, a link that they have to click, and then they can just find a guide. I think that would be great. Not only with this week of the new flight or so.
But just run it period all the time, have it available.
That's
not a bad idea. It does help with someone who's with you. I know there are some players who there may be some issues in relation to social relationship, you know, being able to feel comfortable working with a stranger. So they may be going into it more solo. And I can understand that there's that side of it too. But I agree. I think that badge system of helping people could be something that just remains, because there are plenty of people out there who do enjoy. I mean, literally, I know there are people out there who just want to get it for the skins and all the other stuff. But believe it or not, guys, there are many people I've talked to who said, I just like helping people. You know, I just want to get in there and help people learn how to play the game, which I think is a very cool. There are plenty of people out there just as much. And I do believe there's a small, I agree with you. I agree there's a small minority of people that probably run this. We know there's already a small minority of people who are what quote unquote are the griefers or whatever. I'm not against PvPers at all, guys. The griefers are the ones that I think that, you know, they do have a hand in making, you know, souring some people. I think that's a reality. Just like 30K sour people. 30Ks, when they happen and new players come in, absolutely. They get frustrated. They say, this game, I'm not playing it. You know, what I saw this streamer doing, evidently that wasn't my experience. And they may not come back. And that can be a liability to CIG just as much. Now, CIG may be projecting that in the future, they may win those people back. Games like No Man's Sky did that, right? A lot of people bought No Man's Sky with such great anticipation. It launched and they were miserable when it came out. But then many of them, a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, they came back to the game. And maybe that's just something that happens in game development, right?
Yeah.
But that's the developer side of it. I'm concerned about what are we as a community doing to contribute to people being turned off to the game that we want people to play. And maybe our hand isn't that big. Maybe there's nothing we can do about it. Maybe it is just indicative to gamers' nature, which is going to lead into our next point that we're going to talk to. Right?
Yeah, so, some people just don't are looking for the wrong game in Star Citizen.
Yeah, true.
They want a total different experience that was actually projected to them.
Yeah.
And they think like, oh, it's I can do everything here, and or they are used to this hand holding for quest or storytelling. That's not here.
Yeah, there's another side that's not being told, right? There is a dangerous side to playing the game. And I get it. And again, this whole idea tomorrow about our show Visions, Dreams, and Reality is going to be that. A lot of us as gamers have dreams about what we want our game, our ultimate space game to be. But what's going to be the reality of it in the end? You know, what's going to and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be an interesting conversation because I've said this before. I think the Star Citizen is going to be one of those games that's going to be for some people, but there's going to be other people who think that they're going to want to play Star Citizen and find out it's not the game for them. But we'll see what happens. Okay. All right, Red. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
All
looking forward to it.
Thank you, bro.
Okay.
Okay, gang. Hey, boy, that was great. We had a lot of great thoughts and conversation there. Thank you guys for your sharing, because it's an interesting subject, interesting topic. As we mentioned to you guys, we are doing a fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospital, and it's called Play Live. And we are looking to raise $10,000. We're hoping that you will give consideration to supporting us in our effort to donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We're going to show you a quick video, talk about what we're doing for our giveaways, and then we're going to get into the final question of the day. So here we go.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and YouTube are teaming up to help end childhood cancer.
In September, supporters from across the nation come together during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to raise money for the kids of St. Jude.
And that's when YouTube gamers will be posting videos and live streaming to raise funds to support the life-saving mission of St. Jude.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Money raised also supports the research that leads to groundbreaking medical discoveries that St. Jude freely shares around the globe.
I can only imagine as a parent the relief that they feel when someone like St. Jude steps in.
I think it's a really good lesson for us to realize that we need to do more, and we can do more.
It is a huge step in the right direction, a huge step in helping just people and giving back.
It's all for good, and we have a responsibility, a social responsibility to help out.
Find your favorite video or live stream during St. Jude Play Live on YouTube for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and donate to this amazing cause.
Your support will help St. Jude further its incredible mission.
Finding cures, saving children.
Let's end childhood cancer together.
Okay, let's end childhood cancer together. Hey, gang, this is going to be what we're doing. We're doing our giveaways. We are looking to again raise $10,000 for St. Jude Children's Hospital. We have different tiers of giveaways that we're doing. Our next tier is our $2,000 giveaway. I need to bring up, and I think Fastcar put the link in here. Yeah, he did. We are currently at $1,322, and we are on our way to our $2,000 mark. And we're hoping that you guys can help us get there. When we hit 2,000, we're going to give away a UEE, one from CIG, the UEE Naval Field Jacket and the Navy Cap. At $3,000, we're going to be doing for our very first 12-hour live stream. We're going to have some of our guests, different friends of ours from the community who are going to come on board with us and talk and share with you guys. We may do some gameplay. We're going to have these special guest giveaways, trivia, a whole bunch of fun stuff that we're going to do for that. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. And no Black Sky Legion, no hot tub stream. Not happening, brother. Not happening at 11,000. Yeah, it's been 20,000. 20,000 we'll do a hot tub stream. Okay, I shouldn't say that because we're not going to do a hot tub stream. Anyway, you guys see the different tiers there of what we're doing. Ultimately, if we reach $10,000, we're going to give away an Endeavor Master Set. I keep having that jump in there. Fast Card, how come we both keep putting the word jump in there? I don't know why that keeps coming back. I'm going to remove it now because I am so sick of seeing that word in there. Let me get rid of it because every show we talk about it and then I forget to take it out later on. There we go. It's gone forever. Okay. But you guys can see the different tiers of what we're giving away. We've got a great sponsor, an anonymous donor who's given us a lot of things to give away this time around. Just so you guys will know, a lot of times, folks, we don't want you to think all of our subscriber money is going to this. Someone who's donating probably 7 or 8 of these packages to us, which is great. So thank you, anonymous donor. You know who you are. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So we really appreciate any contributions that you guys give us toward our St. Jude Children's Hospital. And tell a friend, tell somebody about what we're doing. That would be greatly appreciated as well. We really do appreciate you guys. Okay, pardon me. Last but not least, our final topic here, which we're going to hit. This one here is my question to you guys. What is fun? What is fun? What is fun for Star Citizen backers in particular? And I want you to keep this within the context of Star Citizen for now. We all play a lot of different games, but we all come to Star Citizen for something. And my question to you is going to be, what is fun for you? I don't want you to come and say, this is what's fun for other people. This is what no, I want to know what's fun for you. And then I'm going to put some other questions out there and then we're going to hopefully talk about it. Let me give you some things that popped up in my head. These were just spontaneous. This is not everything in the fun category, okay? Not everything in the fun category. But those are some things that I'm just giving you to feed on. Maybe that'll spark something for you. Or maybe there's something on that list that you say, oh yeah, that's me. That's definitely me. So share with me to you about what is fun for Star Citizen backers when it comes to the game that we're playing right now, the alpha that we're playing right now, the early access we're playing right now, whatever you want to call it, the tech demo that we're playing right now. Okay. All right. So we've got some folks already lining up. And I know the first person in was Mr. Kai Zinn, so I'm going to bring him in because I asked him to come back. So, Kai, you there?
Hello. I was just checking the clip. We have the clip, 20K hot tub stream. I want you and Fast Cart and inflatable pickles wearing amaranth outfits, and we're going to do karaoke for 2 hours. I'm going to get so drunk. It's going to be awesome.
Listen, you could drop 200,000. It ain't happening, brother.
We clipped it. We clipped it. You're a man of God. You said it 20K.
Yeah. And I also said I'm joking right after. Clip that part in too as well.
Oh, but no, that part did not make the clip.
Yeah,
that part did not make the clip.
Oh, boy. Blackmail, y'all. Anyway.
All right.
What you got?
So, what is fun for Star Citizen backers? I think I'm about to trigger a lot of fanboys. Here we go. You ready?
You trigger people? I can't believe that. Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. Let's be honest. By many metrics, Star Citizen development is an absolute shit show. Okay. It's like they've never met a deadline or a date they didn't blow through. Mm-hmm. Things change like quicksand. There's revisionist history. There's gaslighting. There's all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But Star Citizen is the joy of it, the fun, the coolness of it is the possibility, is the amount of possibility, the endless almost possibility, and the dreams and what could be. So my opinion is that 90% of the fun for Star Citizen backers is the dreaming. I'll give you kind of an analogy. You buy a lottery ticket for $1, okay? And you basically, you could have just thrown your dollar in the street and got the same value. But when you buy that lottery ticket and it's like, oh, it's a week until the drawing or whatever, the point isn't that you're going to win. You know you're not going to win. The lottery is a tax on the uneducated. The point of it is that you get to, for the next 48 hours, 72 hours, have this little dream in the back of your head that is like, oh my God, I would buy my mom that big house. I would take my girl and we would go down to the Bahamas. I'm going to buy some kind of crazy piece of shit Italian car for 10 times too much money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I can tell my boss where he can shove it. It's for $1. You get to have these fantasies of what if we didn't work in a dystopian wage slave system that tells you live in a democracy when you clearly live in an oligarchy, and tells you that you have possibilities when clearly you don't, and tells you that the food you're putting into your body isn't full of poison and corn syrup and bullshit that's illegal in most of the civilized countries around the world. That's the fun of Star Citizen. The fun of Star Citizen is I paid my $40 or I'm a complete idiot and paid my $5,000 and now I get to dream about what it could be amazing. You said something earlier, Griff, in one of the other questions, somebody was talking about like, oh, like what is it? Like, what do we want out of a game or something? And here's the thing. The real truth is, it's not even games that are the problem these days. Part of it is us. It's our lives. What we're seeking, what we're dreaming for, the why, because you asked, why is it we're always on this high? Why do we get hyped for games? We're seeking a time travel device that will take us back to when we were 16 years old in the summertime. Like football practice hadn't started up yet. And you were free. You were actually a free man. You had no fucking responsibility at all. You would eat pizza that was provided by your parental units that you didn't have to come up with money for, Doritos that seemed to be endlessly there, drink shit that you shouldn't be drinking, Mountain Dew or whatever, and play video games. And you had no job.
Okay, so let me stop you.
You had no wife.
Let me stop you.
You had no kids.
Let me stop you. You've hit 5 different points, and I got to focus on one. No. I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to leave. I want you to comment on what I'm asking you about. Because first of all, I'm over here cracking up laughing because you pissed off the lottery players. You pissed off. I'm just teasing because you're talking about KBI said trigger as soon as you said about lottery. Here's my question, because you're going where I wanted to go, and that's why I asked you to come back.
Okay.
When I asked about what is fun, I wanted to get into the psychology of what is fun. And you've kind of taken us down that road of the escapism side of it and what compels us to continue. I'm not just talking about Star Citizen per se, but what is it that continues us? Remember I was talking about the comparison about marketing and hype and all that. What is it that makes us, as you mentioned, grown folk, continue to pursue, who loves whatever, but let's keep it within the context of Star Citizen. You just talked about that there's something that we're trying to gain or regain.
So Star Citizen is guilty of 1,000 crimes, but here's the one thing that they do that no one else does. And this is why I love Star Citizen, despite all of the things that make me want to strangle someone. Every other game out there, with very few exceptions, Ashes of Creations, Baldur's Gate 3, which I'm so hyped for.
We're looking for.
And this, there are games where they go, nah, screw it. We're going to go all in. We're going to go deeper. Every other game, from Elite Dangerous and this one and that one, it's all, we compromised here, we shortcutted there, we did a little less here, we did a little less there. And I'm at the point where I'm willing to be lied to just to have somebody tell me they're not going to settle. They're going to go big dick energy. They're going to just go all in. And that's what I love about this project. For all of its many, many, many sins, this game gives you like the ability to like, you've got your lottery ticket. What could you have? It's never going to happen.
Odds versus possibility. Okay.
It's just, and eventually they're going to have to start settling. They're going to have to start growing up and making those same compromises that everyone else does. But for right now, they're not doing it. And so this is my lottery ticket. It gives me a little bit of pleasure to just fantasize.
Well, your lottery analogy is a good one because it reminds me of like right now, they just recently had a Powerball here that reached $1 billion, right? That's the dream, $1 billion, right? You know what the reality is? After taxes, it's about 600 and something million. You know, you're not thinking about the reality later. You know, you hear about the billion and it's like, oh yeah, $1 billion. What can I do with $1 billion? Then when you find out after you win, oh, it's 600 and something million. What do you mean? That's not the reality. And so again, and I appreciate what you're saying. I'm going to bring some other folks in, but I get what you're saying. And I do think it's much deeper what we're pursuing in the aspect of fun. Again, I you know, these things that I have on the screen right now are just the conduits to something. And I'm curious as to what other people will feel. Some people may see it as just this, and that's fine. If you do, that's fine. But for other people, for some people, it is much deeper than just maybe the behaviors that we see come from another place, not just the fact of camping. You know, maybe there's something to that goes deeper. Other people, it's just
keep in mind, Griff.
You know,
don't talk bad about just $600 million. For that much money, you could get almost all of the ships in Star Citizen.
Oh, stop. Goodbye, Kai. Thanks, buddy. Kai is a maniac. Okay, let me bring in. I don't know who is next. Let me bring in Pops in space. Pops, you there?
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's fun to me is the people that can laugh at themselves, enjoy, you know, each other's company.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, getting things done.
Okay.
That's fun, but for the most part, laughing at themselves.
Okay. All right. Cool. So for you, I'm going to add this to the list here because I should have. I meant to put this down, and you just reminded me to put it down. I'm going to put down. Hopefully, there's room for it. Community. Yeah, it barely fit.
Exactly.
But I'm going to shrink it. I'm going to shrink it down so it will all fit in here. There we go. Community. All right. So community is definitely something that a lot of people talk about. All right, Pops. Yeah. I appreciate that, brother. We do have an interesting community. Thanks. All right. Let me bring in Admiral Kusunogi. Admiral, you there?
Oh, boy. Now I'm looking at your thing here. Am I supposed to be added to? I'm supposed to come up with something to add to this?
No. I said those were just things to spark things for people to think about. If one of them is it, if you've got something else, feel free.
Remember that digital bar system we had? You guys put together, and we had the U-Haul. I'm not the U-Haul, like the FedEx guy show up, and he was like, "I just want to get into a game and shoot crap."
Yeah.
And cause problems, and he was like, I'm gonna go.
He didn't say cause problems.
Kill people. No, he was like, I'm gonna kill people.
No. Stop. Don't put words in his mouth. What you're saying now is what he said. Well, no, what you said there was fine, but he didn't say I want to cause problems. But everything else you said, he did say. Yes. He said I want to be able to log in. I just want to go in and shoot and kill things. Yes, that's what he said.
He said I wanted to kill farmers and stuff like that, and we were like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So.
And I said, don't talk about what other people want to do. Tell me what you want to do.
Okay, I don't want a therapy session. Is what I want to do is Star Citizen. I don't want Star Citizen to be my therapy session. Okay. But in terms of that, man, what do I want to do? I want to find, you know, like Pops just said, a community. I want to find a connection with people that have like-minded interests, and yes, that can go for pro-legal, pro-not legal, and you know, the crime syndicates and stuff like that. And
that would be fun for you. That's what you're saying. That would make the game fun for you. Okay.
Make fun. And that's a very PvP orientated. But again, most of Star Citizen is PvE, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they can build out of that, because I'm interested in the missions they can create.
Okay.
So I think so yeah, that's the way I'm gonna look at it. That's what's fun for me is because people like go out and you're like, oh well, it's fun playing Star Citizen, you know, as a solo player. But if you have a 30K, if you have any of these other issues, you have way more fun with people, and you can laugh about it. And like, oh man, that time you did this, and like, yeah, you were so stupid, that was hilarious, and you know, and like you laugh and all that stuff. So it's really good. And for people watching, if you can't, you know, find streamers, you know, and do stuff if you can't find anybody else, and join their groups. because it's fun, and I know you do it from time to time, Griff, and other people I watch do it, and yeah, and that's the thing. That's what's fun for myself. But
good.
Also backing away once in a while and breathing and like I just recently had to do for a bit because I was just so mentally exhausted.
Yeah,
I was mentally exhausted.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I get it. I get it. Want it for fun and you don't want it for therapy. Those are good 2 points. Thank you, Admiral.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, let's bring in Chew back. Chew, you there? I heard his microphone.
Yep.
There he is. What you got, buddy?
So, I love this question. I love this. So for me, the biggest thing, I have like macro and micro, right?
Okay.
So macro, I'm really big into exploration, some PvP strategy and simulation, right? So all three of those things are prospectively in this game, right?
Okay.
So with that, a lot of my gamer friends, I hope will be bought in at like different genres because this brings them all together. That's the first time I've seen this so effective and persistent. So hopefully it'll bring all these friends I played with in one game here, simulation here and there, start to bring us together, especially as we get older, right?
Right.
And have more time once we retire and things. But and then on the micro level, it's like the physicalization of a lot of things that we enjoy. Like if you like economy simulators or society simulators where you're looking down 2D, now you're in a 3D world doing these same things. So you get all these people with these different skills that you didn't play with. They were in a single player cage, like Mech Warrior or something. Now they get to do it in actual 3D. So for me, that's the most fun, is contributing to something like that happening, and just being part of the experiment until it is made reality.
Nice. I like that. The macro and the micro versions of what you want to see in the game. That's very cool. And those, for you, those are gratifying, right? Being able to have the balance of both of those.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chew. Good stuff. Very deep, but very good. All right. Let me bring in, let's bring in Jay Voodoo Child back. Jay, you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yes,
and
sir.
I have a 5-part answer.
Okay. 5-part. Oh, God. I said, what's the one thing? Narrow it down to 3. Okay, narrow it to 3 at least. Go ahead.
Okay, I've already narrowed it down from 9. So,
Okay.
I'm trying to work with you here.
Okay, go ahead.
For me personally, back in 2017, I do not have a reg that could run the game properly. It can barely run right now. So basically, my thought for many years has been to wait until Squadron 42 drops, upgrade a rig, or get a rig that will play that game properly, and that way I will be set for Star Citizen when it releases afterwards. And so, as Kai was saying, right now, since I'm not in the game, I'm living on the fantasy of that lotto ticket that I've purchased, or the 1,000 lotto tickets that I've purchased.
Right.
And that's enjoyable for me. And one thing, I've been a gamer all my life, and if I can work something out on a spreadsheet for some function just to make it sense in my head, I really enjoy that aspect to many games that I play.
Okay.
So that's what's going on for me personally.
Okay.
Whether the development leads into a game that, the ultimate game space sim that I have always wanted, how different my tastes are to Chris Roberts' taste, we'll see how that flies. And, as far as the general sense, gaming is just another form of entertainment. And people will spend an amount of time, an amount of money that they can afford to be entertained somehow. That's how people exist in life. And, some people want to buy season tickets to see a team, other people play and be athletic, and they'll pay them lots of money to watch commercials and all this other stuff. The finances of entertainment is ridiculous across the board. So, my personal thing with gaming and the things that I get from it, I'm willing to spend X amount of dollars, X amount of time in gaming, because that's what works for me.
It's interesting that you use that as a comparison, because, you know, a lot of times people still, I think there's still a little bit of a stigma about gaming. And I'm an old guy, so I kind of, I know where it comes from, and I know why people feel that way, but also because I'm a gamer, I also know why it's that way. There's an idea of thinking that, oh, gaming is just, let me give you the thing, waste of times. I don't understand it. It's for kids. Why are you doing, you know, there's the feeling about gaming. Who would have thought that esports, for example, would actually be considered a sport, right? I mean, that people are paying thousands of dollars in rewards for that. You know, 30 years ago, that would have been unheard of, right? That it's being broadcast on television, you know, that there are associations, that gaming has moved from being something that's just some little recreational hobby. For many people, it's something that is very legit. It's no different than a person who may spend thousands of dollars on golfing, right? Or some other thing, racing, whatever the case may be. So gaming has changed in the psyche of society, you know, globally, in fact.
Certainly.
I would have never expected that video games would be what they are today, you know, in the sense of their impact on society, and why people come to it, as you mentioned, as a form of literal recreation. You know what I mean? Not just something that kids do. You know what I mean? It spans all demographics. I've watched streamers. I know people who game and they're in their 70s that they'd game, you know, that would have been unheard of, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. From a recreation standpoint, people were doing computers, but recreation, I don't think people were at that age doing it as recreation. But I could be wrong. But no,
I mean, the old board games, I think, you know, you would have all, you know, I'm not sure whether, you know, war veterans would want to play war board games or miniature war games, you know, but maybe there are some people that just found something in that lifestyle, the brotherhood or what have you, that they want to kind of continue that.
Right.
And would be playing a miniatures war game into their, you know, retirement age.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there has been a place. It's just maybe not that we've seen personally.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Jay. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All righty, let's bring in Red Bear. Red, you're back. I think he's back. I may have to put Red back in the queue. Red.
No. I'm here.
Okay. So what is fun for you as a Star Citizen backer, Red?
Yeah, I think I mentioned before that I like to be immersed in the game, and that it is not full of shortcuts. Like we do a lot of with quantum travel. I feel it's a bit of a fast travel. For going from space to planet. We use quantum travel, and then 25 kilometers ahead, we are there. So the danger is less then. Another example is what I said about the space stations. You have those Willy Wonka elevators. I just cannot take them. It's so annoying.
The Willy Wonka elevators. Okay. Yeah. I do remember you talking about the elevators before. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so but you like the immersion, that's the part for you where fun comes
I want
in?
To feel I want to feel like I'm in space, that space is big, that you don't go from millions and millions in kilometers like in a couple of minutes. I mean, that's immersion breaking to me, and that's not fun. And for other people, it's not fun to be long in space. But then I think, like, okay, you have all those kitchens, all those beds. What you gonna do with those if you don't have a long trip to go? It's unnecessary.
Yeah. And that's what I was talking about earlier. There are going to be, for some people, once this game gets to where it's at, it may not be the game that they want to play. And I've said this in the past before. I remember when we first got Hurston, going from Port O to Hurston was a 12 to 15 minute ride, depending on what ship you were in. If you were in a big ship like if you were in a big ship like a Starfarer or Reclaimer that had a good quantum drive, you could get there in like 8-9 minutes. Could you imagine if those times still existed now?
I wish.
But I'm saying for some people they'd be. So my point is that Star Citizen is tweaking things a little bit, because when we get into Pyro, which is 2.5 size the time of Stanton, travel's going to be bigger. When we get to Nyx, which is 5 times as big.
I'm a bit worried about that because not for me, because I love it. But I hear already people saying like, "Oh, if it is that long of travel, I'm going to quit the game."
Exactly. That's why I'm saying it's going to be really interesting to see when we get to the final end whether this game is the game that people really feel that they want to play. So we'll see. That's a good point, Red. Good point.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. All right, let's bring in Fist to Face, and we're going to close out with BBG when he gets in here. Fist, you there? Fist is mic'd. Mic is muted. If you're talking, your mic is muted. There he is.
We go. Hello,
okay.
hello.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So what is fun for SC backers? Well, I can only speak for myself.
Please do.
So what is fun for me, number one, is listening to all these people come here every week and talk about a game that is unfinished.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I
thought maybe you were serious. I thought you were serious.
No, that's one of those. I'm one of those people.
Listen,
right?
Don't start going down fast talk thing and making jokes before every point. All right, please don't. Just let him be that. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
All right, but anyway, so I was going to say, being able to meet folks and enjoying the company of, like I said, even whenever I was going to say, was that being able to talk about the game every week, which is true. We all have a passion and a love to see the game, but more importantly, each other, because that's what's more important to me. A game could be a game, but a game is not really a game without the people that you play with. So
you've played in a lot of different gaming communities. And I mean, there's some communities you've been in the past that have been, fairly large franchises. You're also putting your time in on games that are to come, games like Ashes of Creation, Star Citizen.
Right.
So do you see any common things between any of those communities, or do you feel that the Star Citizen community is unique and that's kind of why you do invest the amount of time talking about the game? I mean, we talk about a lot of games, but we spend a lot of time talking about this game.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to get straight to the point. There is a uniqueness about Star Citizen, being the point of fact that Star Citizen, from my experience, has the most mature community around it. Because like I said, I've played DC Universe for over 10 years. And I've seen, even coming into that game from the beginning, the community was very elitist. I mean, because, to keep it short and sweet, it was heavily based upon DPS meters.
Okay.
And like I said again, when you put some of these mechanics in a game, DPS meters, it can kill a game, because all it becomes is, who can go into the dungeon and who can do the most damage.
Right.
And it becomes a big, an internet, thing, whatever, you know what I mean? I don't want to get into that, but to me, from what I've seen with this, the way the game Star Citizen is structured, it's not about how much DPS I can do at the end of the day. It's not about, oh man, I got the best XYZ in the game, because there's so many facets of the game that, you can be successful at, because it's not about necessarily having the most AUC or UE, whatever it is that's going to be when the time of the game comes out. Success to you is, man, I could get up in the game and I could just chill out and just go mining for like that day. And that was it. Like you said the other day, you had fun being pirated. Now, you might say that may not have been a successful mission, but hey, it was fun.
Yeah.
You can say that was success.
Yeah, it doesn't come around like what I accomplished, maybe sometimes as much as what did I do or what happened.
Right.
Can determine, whether or not that session that I had was successful or fun.
Right.
Whether it was fun. And it was fun, but pirating was fun. I know some people would have been mad, upset, but it was also the way the pirating happened. The pirating happened within the confines of how this game is supposed to work. Now, if somebody had juked me, or did a cheat, or did something outside of the confines of the game, maybe I would have been salty about it. But because it happened within, these people played within the confines of what was true PvP and piracy.
Exactly.
I wasn't mad. I
can't be mad at that. Just like we talked about earlier about being immortal, and we had our experience in immortal where the guys ran up on us, and they said, "Drop your bags, give it up." And we gave it up. They saw we had nothing. They let us go. Yeah. And I saw them later on in town. I said, "Hey, man, that was cool, man. What your org did. I get that the game is about PvP. It's about, hey, you get caught out there, you get caught out there. But the way they did it, I like it. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Good thoughts, brother. Appreciate you, Fist.
Hey, no problem. All
right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to bring in Big Black Gaming, BBG. All right, guys, forgive me. I keep forgetting to change the guest name, so forgive me for that. I'm just jumping between two screens as a kick in the head. BBG, are you there?
Hey, Griff. How are you?
How are you, man?
I'm good. How you been?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? What is fun for you as a Star Citizen backer?
I have to reject Kai's premise of a lottery. Maybe a church raffle, right?
Okay.
Maybe like an Office March Madness bracket, right?
Okay.
But not a lottery.
Okay.
A lottery feels like the odds are too steep. No, I for me, what I enjoy is to be as all in as I feel Chris Roberts and CIG are for the universe sim of our adult lives. Right? That's what I enjoy. I enjoyed playing it, testing it, wrestling with it, yelling at it, enjoying it, and fully inhabiting it at each phase. There's 3 phases to this thing, and I enjoy each phase in 3 dimensions, right? This phase we're in now, alpha to a viable retail product, I enjoy that. I look forward to enjoying the initial product and its growth, and I look forward to enjoying the late game project and its deep and abiding the digital life that I can have there. Right?
Okay.
And in 3 dimensions, myself, I want to go and do things that I want to do, right? See things that I want to see. We're going to go from reading lore and watching lore videos now to being there for lore happenings or being part of new lore. I enjoy it with my family. We have conversations in and out of the game. We have experiences in and out of the game. And then I enjoy the community. I found my community in Soul Citizens. So, all across all 3 phases of this project, I enjoy it in 3 dimensions, and I am as all in as Chris Roberts is for the universe sim of our adult lives, because there is nothing else like it, either now or down the pipe.
Yeah. You have a unique experience that many backers may not have, and that you just mentioned it, is the fact that you actually have a family member who plays the game with you. And I never really asked you how that happened. Was it curiosity from seeing you? Were you telling them about it? Were they previously interested in a game like this? Because I'm sure there's a certain dynamic. I mean, I know how when I played console with my kids when they were growing up, that was great. It was like a family kind of thing. How is that chemistry work for you with your family member? I mean, is that part of it too? That's something that you both look forward to coming to the game to do?
Yeah, I think, it began before Star Citizen.
Okay.
It began with, exposure to things like Mass Effect.
Okay.
Making sure that he had his own PC.
Okay.
All my kids have their own PC, but they also came up with their own, DSs, Nintendo DSs, right. And, there was a household console, whether it was Xbox or PlayStation at the time. And my oldest son, who I play Star Citizen with regularly, he went deep on Elite Dangerous.
Okay.
Right. So I put in hours in the thousands. He put in hours in the hundreds.
Okay.
And we both came out of that project even more looking forward to what Star Citizen was doing for all the differences between that project and Star Citizen. So he jumped in a couple years ago, tacitly, you know, and as he saw more and more stability, I mean, sometimes the narrative for folks is that the overall arc of Star Citizen isn't towards more and more stability. It simply is, right? for those of us that have been around, it simply is, right?
Yeah.
And so as he saw that, he started to dive in, and it's just been enjoyable. You know, like sometimes he'll pop out of his room like, "Yo, come rescue me."
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not even in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so he has an account. My youngest son has an account, and my daughter has an account, but she doesn't play that much. So I think she's looking forward to Baldur's Gate, but she doesn't play that much. But yeah, everybody has an account. So
yeah, you know, some of the things I listed here, I'm gonna keep you just for a couple more seconds, BBG. Some of the things that I listed there on the screen. It's interesting that really nobody picked anything off of here other than Pops and Fist. They talked about community. And it's interesting that even though these are some of the mechanics, the careers that you can do in the game, it seems that people determine what's fun to be things that are a little bit more esoteric. Things like the experience, Admiral Kusanagi talked about being able to cooperatively walk away from the game with some people and done some things that you can talk about later on. I opened this show up earlier with these people talking about things such as whether is the Vulture worth the money that's being spent? Is sport killing? Are we ruining it? Is griefing? Things of that nature. But nobody really reflected on those. It was things that were a little bit more, as I mentioned, things that were the intangibles of Star Citizen. I do have, I could pick off this list some things that I enjoy, but I would probably, and I've said this before on previous shows, that it's the community. And even when we were on the virtual bar Citizen last week, I expressed that even going to CitizenCon, the event is great. What CIG puts together, the physical dynamics of it, the presentations, the marketing play, the marketplace, all that stuff, meeting, that's all great. But when you get there and around the community, that's what makes it worth making the trip. Because I could very easily sit at home and watch the videos and keep a lot of money in my pocket. In fact, I could use that money to buy a ship probably, but instead I choose to take time out to go to an event, to be around these people who have also sacrificed in some form, whether it's, like you said, $45 or $4,500, whether they are excited about the game or whether they are very frustrated with the game. All those people are in that space. And for me, that's what's fun. That's the thing I look forward to doing. As much as when I play the game, I've said this before, when I play the game, there are some things in the game I'm not interested in doing. But if you said to me, if you came into Discord and said, Griff, I need some help. I've been trying to go into this area and I got these guys that keep killing me. I even though I'm not a big PvPer, I'd jump in a heartbeat and say, where they at? I'll meet you. You know what I'm saying? That dynamic is the dynamic of the game that makes things fun for me, more than if I were to pick and say, oh, well, I enjoy doing mining. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. And those may be the things I'm looking forward to doing. But the fun aspect is my interaction with you guys, with people in this community, and even the pirates I ran into 2 weeks ago who took all my stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I literally had about $1,000 in my bank account afterward, and I had to start over, but that was fun. It was fun.
I could, the way you told that story, I could imagine where you were hiding.
Yeah.
And how that went down.
Yeah.
And I wish I was around to play a role to come try and help you out. I'm glad that test showed up. But yeah, I mean, many of us are like Walt Whitman. We are large. We contain multitudes. So the things on this list, we can imagine doing lots of these things, but it's the context in which we do them that will make the difference, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the vast majority of the things on this list, I can imagine very easily that there will be moments where I want to do some trading, but there's other moments where I'm going to want to just camp and see a space and watch the sun come up and go down. Or a group may need me to come and be the medical ship, right? Go Mob did that for us the other day when he was like, I'm gonna bring the carrot. Everybody get on and register your regen here, so that it made the gaming easier for us, that type of stuff. So all this stuff for me is another dimension, another lens by which we get to engage and have fun.
Right. Absolutely.
The fidelity for me and the idea that it's going to be this big universe sim makes it, to Kai's point, the dream that we're all reaching for. So
yeah.
And I'm all in, brother. I'm all in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate you dropping in, BBG. Always sharing some good wisdom with us, man, and we'll definitely catch you in the verse, okay?
All right, peace.
Thank you, brother. All right. That's good stuff. All right.
Welcome, BBG.
Oops, did I jump up there? I came up there with you guys. Hold on a second. I went to the wrong room. Oh, my God. I grabbed myself and put myself into the general room. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Man, really good stuff. Thank you for those thoughts. You guys kind of came with answers I didn't expect, and they were good answers. They really were. Again, like I said, the subjects that were picked were not necessarily the ones I had on my list. They were the other more esoteric things that make this game fun for a lot of the players. Well, let's move on. As always, thank you guys for being here. As I mentioned, this show is kind of leading into our discussions for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a show entitled Visions, Dreams, and Reality. And as you can see, there's an example there on the little flyer there. Chris Roberts is telling us about something that this game is going to be. And the dreams were, we got our little concept art of the Carrack, and we were like, wow, that thing looks so cool. It's so sleek. I can't wait to get this thing. And then when we got the final product, it was a little chubbier than some of us expected. And the design changed, and the ship was a little bit different, but it was, we grew into it, right? We love the Carrack, right? I don't think there's anybody who's really still mad about the design changes. I mean, like really mad, some people might say, yeah, I still like the other version, but ultimately the reality that we got was something that was functional and in the game, and we got it. But we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. There are a whole lot of other instances of this. The vision that's been given to us by CIG and by Chris Roberts. And then what we as backers dream about. What is it that we take with that vision, and what do we come up with in our own minds? Are we on the mark, or are we off the mark? And then what's the final product that we get in the end? So that's going to be tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Fast Card's going to be here. Geo, Geo Get Money as we know him, is going to be here, and we're going to have a great conversation about it. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Don't forget about our charity drive for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Chooch, thank you so much. I saw the 500 bits you dropped. As always, you are the bit man for us. We appreciate those donations that you give us, because they help us to be able to do the things that we do here, running the show, the giveaways, everything. So thank you. We always appreciate you doing that for us. And I think that's about it. We had a lot of great comments. I was trying to read what everybody was sharing. You know what? Kai mentioned Baldur's Gate. I was having this conversation the other day with Joe Run. I am interested in Baldur's Gate again. I grew up on Baldur's Gate, the very first one, Baldur's Gate 2, and I put it out of my mind. And when I heard about 3, I just wasn't sure if I wanted to get back into it, but I am curious. I'm really curious. Baldur's Gate may be the other game that I look into, because I know it's getting ready they've been beta testing it and everything else. And I know it's coming up pretty soon. So that'll be something else to look forward to, along with Starfield. And along with Ashes of Creation. There are plenty of other great games that we can look forward to playing. But I know for me, always come back to Star Citizen no matter what's out there. So anyway, that's about it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys again for being here. As always, I appreciate everybody. Fastcard, thank you so much for being the great moderator that you are, keeping things going in the background for me. We are going to set ourselves up for a raid. By the way, Fastcard and I will be on the captain's table today with Astropub with Paul Shelley. So we are going to be his guests today. I'm not sure who else, if there's going to be somebody else, but I know the two of us will be there. And we're going to be having a great conversation with Paul. So if you want to hear both Fastcart and I join him, be sure to tune in. As you guys know, this is PodSat Saturday for us, where we have the afternoon and evening full of Star Citizen conversations and information. Paul Shelley's show, the Astropub, the Captain's Table, will be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We will be on there for that, which is just little over an hour from now. My time. And then after that, Relay, the OGs of Star Citizen, will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And you guys can join them if you want to continue with plenty of Star Citizen conversation and information. Thank you guys for being here as always. Appreciate everybody. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Don't forget to check us out with all of our gear. I got a new shirt today. Came today. The other one was fading. I realized it was 2 years old and I was like, it's starting to fade. But we've got the cool logo on the side here on the new ones. So hopefully you guys can support us that way as well. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you guys real soon. Thanks again for all your support. And as always, we're going to tell you guys peace, love, and soul. And we'll see you guys in the verse real soon. Have a great weekend.